Hello, sleepy thinkers, and welcome to Sleepy Science Teller, a calm little corner of the universe where science whispers softly and curiosity drifts into dreams. Tonight, we're exploring a feeling you've likely known very well, a flush of warmth, a quickened heartbeat, and that unmistakable redness that rises in your cheeks. Tonight's gentle discovery is the science of embarrassment. Why do we turn red? Before we begin our quiet journey through this topic, take a moment to settle in, find a cozy position, let your body sink into stillness, and your breath find a slow, peaceful rhythm. Now, just before we drift into the science, I'd love to know where you are joining from tonight and what time it is in your corner of the world. You can leave a soft little comment below, sharing your location and the hour, so together we can see just how far our sleepy science family reaches. And if this calm exploration helps you unwind, please gently tap the like button and subscribe. Your quiet support helps keep this world of wonder alive. There's a moment we all know too well. You drop your drink in front of someone you admire. You wave at a person who wasn't waving at you. You say the wrong thing in a room that suddenly grows quiet. And then it happens. That unmistakable warmth that spreads through your chest, creeps into your cheeks, and makes you wish, just for a moment, that you could disappear. That feeling is embarrassment. It's not quite fear, not quite shame, but something gentler, something more human. Embarrassment is like a quiet whisper of the mind saying, "Oh, dear, they saw that." And what's fascinating is that this emotion, though uncomfortable, is deeply tied to our need for connection. When you feel embarrassed, it's not just about the mistake itself. It's about being seen and fearing that the image someone holds of you might have changed. In that brief moment, you become incredibly aware of yourself, how you look, what others might think, and what that means for your place in their eyes. Psychologists describe embarrassment as a self-conscious emotion. It arises when we evaluate ourselves through someone else's imagined perspective. It's as if we momentarily step outside our own body and look at ourselves through another person's gaze. And while it might feel unpleasant, this emotion has an important purpose. It helps us maintain harmony. It teaches us humility and reminds us that our actions ripple out into the world around us. Embarrassment, in many ways, is the price we pay for caring. It's the proof that we value how others feel about us and how we fit into the social fabric of life. When you think about it, the world would be a colder place without it. Imagine a society where no one ever blushed, where no one cared if they hurt someone's feelings or made a scene. It might seem bold and fearless at first, but soon you'd notice how fragile trust becomes when empathy fades away. So, though embarrassment makes our hearts race and our faces burn, it's also one of the emotions that keeps us kind, that keeps us connected. Take a slow breath and remember a time when you were embarrassed, perhaps in childhood, a time when laughter filled the air around you, and you felt that warm flush rise up your face. Now, think about how quickly it passed, how soon it became a story to smile about. That's the quiet beauty of embarrassment. It never stays for long. It humbles us, softens us, and gently moves aside, leaving behind only a lesson and a little more self-awareness than before. Let's imagine two people. One trips on a sidewalk, and the other witnesses it. The first person blushes, laughs nervously, and tries to act like nothing happened. The second person, seeing this, smiles softly, not out of mockery, but out of recognition. They've been there too. They understand. And suddenly, in that fleeting moment of awkwardness, a small bridge forms between them, a shared understanding of what it means to be human. This is the hidden gift of embarrassment, connection. When we show that we can feel awkward, it tells others that we have empathy, that we care about how our actions affect the world. It's an unspoken signal that says, I'm aware, I care, and I want to make things right. Social scientists call embarrassment a prosocial emotion, meaning it helps us live peacefully in groups. It acts as a silent regulator, keeping us from stepping too far beyond what society considers kind or respectful. In ancient times, our ancestors relied on one another to survive. Being accepted in the tribe was essential. Rejection could mean isolation, and isolation could mean danger. So, when someone did something that risked group harmony, that inner warmth, that flash of embarrassment, serve as a natural reminder. Stay connected. Stay careful. Stay kind. Even today, in our vast digital world, this ancient emotion still follows us. It's there when you send a message to the wrong person, when your microphone stays on in a video call, or when your phone autocorrects something embarrassingly wrong. And though it feels uncomfortable, it also grounds us. It keeps us human in an age that can sometimes feel mechanical. Interestingly, embarrassment isn't always about wrongdoing. Sometimes it appears when we receive unexpected praise, or when attention falls on us in a way we didn't seek. Someone compliments you deeply, and suddenly your cheeks feel warm, not because you've done something wrong, but because being seen, truly seen, is both beautiful and vulnerable. That vulnerability, that tender space between pride and humility, is where embarrassment quietly lives. So when you feel that flush, remember that it's not your enemy. It's a small emotional thread connecting you to everyone else who has ever stumbled, blushed, and smiled through it. Scientists have long been fascinated by embarrassment because it doesn't fit neatly into simple categories of emotion. It's part fear, part guilt, part empathy, and part self-awareness. Neuroscientists studying emotional responses have found that embarrassment activates the same brain regions involved in social pain, like rejection or disapproval. When someone laughs at our mistake, or when we think others are judging us, our brain reacts as if we've been physically hurt. It's the same circuitry, the same raw, protective instinct. That's why embarrassment feels so sharp, so immediate. It's not just in your head. It's a real physiological reaction. One classic experiment explored this beautifully. Researchers asked participants to sing karaoke in front of others, without music, without preparation. As expected, almost everyone turned bright red. Their heart rate spiked, and some even laughed uncontrollably from nervousness. But here's the fascinating part. When observers were asked how they felt about those embarrassed singers, they didn't view them negatively. They actually liked them more. Those who blushed or laughed awkwardly were seen as more genuine, more trustworthy, and more approachable. Embarrassment, it turns out, makes us human in the eyes of others. It shows that we care enough to feel. There's even a study suggesting that people who blush easily tend to have stronger relationships and social bonds because their emotions are transparent and sincere. Think about that. What we often wish to hide may actually be one of the most honest expressions of our humanity. There's also a cultural side to embarrassment. In some societies, like Japan, embarrassment or hazukashi is seen as a virtue, a sign of humility and good manners. To blush or to bow your head after an awkward moment is not weakness, it's respect. Even in literature, embarrassment is used to reveal character depth. Jane Austen's heroines often blush in moments of truth, when love or honesty makes them vulnerable. It's a poetic way of showing purity, not imperfection. So perhaps embarrassment isn't something to escape from, but something to understand, to soften into. The next time your heart races and your cheeks turn warm, you might pause, breathe slowly, and remind yourself, this is not failure. This is connection. This is what it feels like to care. And as that warmth fades, you'll realize that embarrassment, in all its quiet discomfort, is one of the most human emotions we have. It reminds us that we belong to one another in all our imperfect, beautiful ways. Imagine your mind as a vast, quiet orchestra where emotions are the music and your brain is the conductor. Every thought, every heartbeat, every flicker of feeling plays its note in the grand symphony of being human. When embarrassment arises, it's not a single instrument. It's an entire section of that orchestra suddenly swelling with sound. In the space of a few seconds, your brain, body, and emotions join together to create a moment that feels both deeply personal and entirely beyond your control. It begins in the limbic system, the ancient emotional core of your brain. This is where feelings are born, the same region that fires when you fall in love, or feel fear, or experience joy. At the center of it all sits a small almond-shaped structure, the amygdala, tiny but powerful. It scans the world around you, moment by moment, looking for signs of threat or disapproval. When you stumble in front of others, say the wrong thing, or feel eyes turning toward you, the amygdala sends an instant alarm. Something's wrong. People are watching. You've broken a social rule. This alarm is passed to another region, the hypothalamus, the body's control center for physical reactions. It tells your heart to beat faster, your palms to sweat, and your blood vessels to widen. The result is what you feel as a blush, but that's only the surface. Deeper inside your brain, the anterior cingulate cortex, a region involved in self-awareness and emotional regulation, starts to glow with activity. This is the part of your mind that notices the mistake and interprets it through the eyes of others. It whispers, "They saw that. They must be judging me." And suddenly, you're not just reacting to what happened. You're reacting to how it looks. This interplay between the amygdala and the anterior cingulate creates that intense rush of self-consciousness. It's as if your inner world and the outer world collide for a moment, and your mind rushes to make sense of it. Neuroscientists studying these reactions have found that even imagining an embarrassing situation activates these same regions. The brain doesn't need real eyes watching. It just needs the idea of being seen. That's how deeply social our minds are. Even when we're alone, we carry an invisible audience in our thoughts. The brain rehearses, predicts, and remembers, always learning how to keep us in harmony with others. So when you blush, when your heart quickens, you're witnessing your brain's orchestra at work, a beautifully complex system, keeping you connected to the social rhythm of human life. Now, let's explore something truly fascinating: how the brain's sense of self creates the very foundation for embarrassment. Unlike simple emotions like hunger or fear, embarrassment needs one special ingredient: self-awareness. It's what separates our inner experiences from the instincts of other animals. In your brain, self-awareness emerges through a network of regions known as the default mode network, a constellation of areas that activate when you're daydreaming, reflecting, or thinking about yourself. When something embarrassing happens, this network suddenly lights up. Your thoughts spiral inward. You replay the scene. You imagine how others saw you. You wonder what they're thinking now. It's almost like the brain turns a mirror toward itself, showing you not just what happened, but how you appear to others. The medial prefrontal cortex, one of the key regions in this network, acts as a social compass. It helps you understand others' perspectives and your own image in their minds. This is why embarrassment is such a social emotion. You can't feel it in total isolation. It needs the presence, real or imagined, of other people. A simple misstep when you're alone feels like nothing at all. But if someone's watching, even one person, that same act becomes charged with meaning. The brain translates observation into emotion. It tells you you've been seen. And being seen, especially when imperfect, awakens vulnerability. Researchers once described embarrassment as a dance between the self and society. Your brain performs that dance through subtle neural choreography, comparing how you wish to appear with how you actually seem. When those two versions don't align, the music of embarrassment begins. This dance has a purpose. 2. It's the mind's way of keeping us adaptable and kind. It helps us refine our behavior, learn from awkward moments, and grow more attuned to others' feelings. Think about it. Children blush less than adults because their self-awareness is still developing. As the brain matures, so does the capacity for embarrassment. It's a sign not of weakness, but of growth. So when your cheeks warm, when your thoughts turn inward, your brain isn't punishing you. It's teaching you empathy. It's showing you how to be a better part of the world around you. And in that light, embarrassment becomes less a flaw and more a gentle guide toward emotional intelligence. Let's take a closer look now at how your brain and body work together to create the full, vivid experience of embarrassment. It starts with perception. Your eyes, ears, and thoughts gather information about the moment. The brain instantly evaluates. Is this safe? Am I being judged? Did I break a rule? When the answer feels uncertain, the amygdala rings its tiny alarm. Signals rush through your autonomic nervous system, the network that controls heart rate, breathing, and body temperature. Within seconds, adrenaline and noradrenaline are released, telling your heart to beat faster, your skin to flush, and your body to prepare. Even though there's no real danger, this response is ancient. It evolved long before complex societies existed. But now, instead of facing predators, our brains respond to social risks, to judgment, laughter, or disapproval. The fascinating part is that your insular cortex, a region deep within the brain, acts as the bridge between your thoughts and your physical sensations. It translates emotion into body language. A racing pulse, a tight throat, a pink glow in the face. It's as though your brain paints emotion onto your skin. This is why embarrassment feels so physical. It doesn't stay contained inside your head. It moves through every part of you, creating a full-body symphony of self-consciousness. But here's the comforting truth. The same brain circuits that trigger that rush also help you calm down. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational voice, steps in gently afterward, soothing the waves of emotion. It tells you, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. It will pass. And it does. This calming feedback loop is essential. Without it, embarrassment could spiral into shame. But with it, you return to balance. The brain learns, adjusts, and quietly moves on. There's even a poetic rhythm to it, a rise of emotion, a blush of awareness, and a soft return to peace. Each time it happens, your brain becomes just a little wiser. It learns how to navigate the fragile space between individuality and belonging. So the next time your mind replays an awkward moment, try to see it not as a failure, but as a sign that your brain is beautifully tuned to the social harmony of human life. That warm flush, that tiny rush of self-awareness, it's your brain saying, you are part of something greater. You care. You belong. And that is one of the most comforting truths science has ever uncovered, long before cities, before spoken words, before written stories. There was instinct. Our ancestors lived by it, a finely tuned awareness of danger etched deep into their minds. A rustle in the grass could mean a predator. A shadow across the firelight could mean threat. And in those moments, their bodies didn't wait to think. They reacted. Heartbeats quickened, muscles tensed, eyes widened, and every part of them prepared to either fight or to flee. This, we now know, is the fight or flight response. It's one of the oldest survival mechanisms in human biology, a lightning-fast system powered by the sympathetic nervous system, which lives deep within the brain and body. What's fascinating is that this ancient system, crafted to protect us from physical danger, is still very much alive today, but its triggers have evolved. Instead of wild animals or falling trees, our modern threats are social. A wrong word, a mistake in front of others, a burst of laughter in the wrong moment, and suddenly the same biological alarms go off inside us. Your brain, unable to tell the difference between physical threat and social threat, reacts just the same. Your heartbeat races, your breath quickens, and warmth blooms across your skin. You aren't being chased by anything, yet your body prepares as if you are. In that moment, the fight or flight system wakes up, and embarrassment becomes its gentle echo. It's a softer, more human version of fear. A fear not of claws or teeth, but of judgment. This reaction shows just how deeply our biology and social nature are intertwined. Our nervous system, once meant for survival in wild forests, now keeps us alive in the emotional jungles of human connection. So when your heart pounds during embarrassment, when your face flushes, it isn't weakness. It's your body's ancient guardian, still doing its job, protecting your place in the tribe. And though the world has changed, that guardian still watches quietly within you, ready to rise, whenever your heart feels exposed. Now, let's slow down and look more closely at what happens inside you the very instant embarrassment arrives. It all begins with perception. Something unexpected happens, perhaps a stumble, a slip of the tongue, a laugh that draws attention. Your eyes take in the scene, your ears hear the response, and before you can even think, your amygdala, that small emotional alarm center in your brain, rings out a silent warning. Within a heartbeat, Signals rush down to your hypothalamus, and the autonomic nervous system bursts into motion. Your adrenal glands, sitting just above your kidneys, release a wave of adrenaline, a chemical messenger of energy and urgency. Your heart speeds up, pumping blood faster through your veins. Your pupils widen, taking in more light. Your muscles tighten, ready to move, and your blood vessels, especially in your face and neck, expand, letting more blood flow near the skin. That's the blush. That's the visible mark of your body's alarm. But here's the paradox. In a true life-threatening situation, that blood flow helps oxygenate your muscles for action. During embarrassment, you don't need to run or fight. Yet the body doesn't know that. It reacts out of ancient habit, sending warm blood to your cheeks instead of your legs. And this physical sensation becomes part of the emotion itself. You feel embarrassed because your body is echoing your brain's alert. Neuroscientists call this feedback loop, the embodied emotion, where feeling and physiology merge into one. It's a remarkable thing, really, that a system millions of years old still serves us today, even in moments of laughter or awkward silence. The same reflex that helped our ancestors survive danger now helps us survive social life, teaching us caution, empathy, and awareness of how we affect others. Your body is not betraying you when you blush. It's communicating. It's saying, I care what they think. It's saying, I want to belong. And in that warm rush of color, the story of evolution quietly lives on. The fight or flight system isn't just a tool of survival anymore. It's become a language. In ancient times, the ability to sense danger quickly meant the difference between life and death. But as humans began to live in groups, our greatest threats changed. Instead of lions, we faced rejection. Instead of storms, we feared humiliation, because belonging, being accepted and trusted, was what kept us safe. And so, the same biological system that once protected our bodies was repurposed to protect our relationships. When you feel embarrassed, your brain activates that ancient alarm. But your response, the lowered gaze, the blush, the nervous laugh, has a new purpose now. These small gestures communicate honesty and regret. They tell others without words that you recognize a mistake, that you mean no harm, that you wish to restore balance. Evolution favored this because it strengthened social bonds. Those who could show embarrassment were seen as trustworthy. They learned from mistakes and kept the group's harmony intact. This is why scientists call embarrassment a social survival mechanism. It keeps us together. It keeps us kind. It's poetic, isn't it? That the same surge of adrenaline, which once readied us for battle, now helps us maintain peace. Every time you blush, every time your heart skips with awkwardness, you're living proof of humanity's long journey, from survival in the wilderness to harmony in society. The fight or flight connection reminds us that emotions are not random. They are echoes of the past, woven into our biology, like whispers from ancient ancestors. So, when you next feel that soft panic rise, that sudden heat in your cheeks, remember this gentle truth. You're not overreacting. You're simply human. Your body is replaying an ancient song of survival, a melody your brain has known for thousands of years, now tuned not to danger, but to care. And as the music fades, you return to calm, safe, connected, and beautifully human once more. Imagine a quiet cafe, You drop your cup, and it shatters softly against the floor. The sound echoes, eyes turn toward you, and within seconds, you feel it, that unmistakable warmth rising from your chest, spreading to your neck, then blooming softly across your cheeks. That's the blush, the body's silent confession. It begins deep inside, long before the color shows. Your amygdala, the emotional sentinel of the brain, detects a social mistake, a slip, a laugh, a spotlight moment. It instantly signals the hypothalamus, the command center for your body's automatic reactions. Within moments, a cascade of adrenaline is released into your bloodstream. Your sympathetic nervous system, the same ancient mechanism that powers the fight or flight response, activates your heart, dilates your pupils, and, most curiously, relaxes the small muscles that control the width of blood vessels in your face. This relaxation allows more blood to flow into the fine network of capillaries just beneath your skin. The result, a visible flush, a reddening that seems to declare, I'm feeling something deeply human right now. It's not random. It's not weakness. It's precision. Your brain chooses where to blush. The cheeks, the neck, the ears, regions rich with blood vessels close to the surface of the skin. They're ideal for displaying emotion. Evolution has designed the human face as a living canvas where our inner world becomes visible. You cannot command a blush. You cannot fake it. It arrives uninvited, authentic, and pure. That's part of its magic and part of its meaning. Every blush is an act of honesty, a biological confession written in color. Your nervous system, without a single conscious choice, has turned emotion into art. Let's look closer at what happens inside your body in the precise instant of blushing. It begins with vasodilation, a widening of tiny blood vessels in the skin. The facial veins and arteries expand, allowing warm, oxygen-rich blood to flow closer to the surface. This blood carries not just warmth, but also subtle pigments, hemoglobin rich with oxygen that give skin its pink or reddish hue. At the same time, your heart rate increases and your blood pressure gently rises, helping this flow reach its destination more quickly. For a few seconds, the blush peaks, your face glows, your temperature rises ever so slightly, and you feel both exposed and alive. But why the face? Why not the hands, or the feet, or the chest? Scientists believe the reason lies in evolution's fascination with social visibility. Our faces are constantly observed. They are the center of communication. From the moment humans began forming communities, our ability to express emotion through facial signals became vital. The facial nervous system evolved to be exquisitely sensitive, able to reflect emotional states instantly. Smiles, frowns, tears, laughter, and yes, blushing. The blush is the most honest of them all because it cannot be hidden. In that instant, you're completely transparent. Your biology reveals your emotion with perfect timing and sincerity. And yet, there's a certain beauty in that vulnerability. When you blush, you're not just showing color, you're showing truth. The ancient philosopher Charles Darwin once wrote that blushing is the most peculiar and the most human of all expressions. He was fascinated by its mystery, how emotion could cause such a visible change in only one part of the body. Modern neuroscience now confirms what Darwin sensed. Blushing is a mind-body dialogue, a direct reflection of emotional awareness on the surface of our skin. It's as if your nervous system whispers to your blood, and your blood answers with warmth and color, and the quiet poetry of being alive. Every blush has a beginning and an ending. After the first wave passes, your body begins to calm itself. The parasympathetic nervous system, the gentle counterpart to the fight or flight response, steps in to restore balance. Your heartbeat slows. Your blood vessels gradually tighten again. The warmth retreats, and your skin returns to its natural shade. It's as though your body takes a slow breath of relief, whispering to itself, "It's over now, you're safe." This soft, physiological ebb and flow is part why embarrassment feels so vivid and yet so temporary. For a few heartbeats, you are flooded with sensation, both physical and emotional. Then, as your body regains equilibrium, a calmness settles in. Interestingly, scientists have found that blushing can even reduce tension in social settings. When others see you blush, they instinctively perceive sincerity. It's a signal that you recognize the situation, that you feel humility or empathy. This is why, in social terms, a blush often soothes more than it harms. It helps repair awkward moments, showing others that you care, that you wish to make amends. In a way, blushing is your body's built-in apology, a natural expression of connection. It's remarkable to think that what feels like a loss of control is actually one of the purest forms of emotional intelligence. Your face speaks the language of your heart, and in doing so, it invites understanding. The next time you feel that warmth rising, perhaps you'll pause and let it happen, not as a source of shame, but as a small miracle of self-expression, a soft biological side that says, "I care, I'm alive, and I am beautifully human." Imagine for a moment you're walking through a quiet hallway, your footsteps soft against the floor. Suddenly, someone calls your name unexpectedly. You turn, startled, and in that instant, you feel your heartbeat quicken, your breath deepen, and perhaps that faint warmth rise in your face. This is the gentle fingerprint of adrenaline, a powerful chemical messenger that shapes both our survival and our emotions. When you feel embarrassment, your brain sends a rapid signal through the autonomic nervous system. This signal reaches your adrenal glands, two small, triangular organs resting above your kidneys. In response, they release adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, directly into your bloodstream. Within seconds, adrenaline spreads throughout your body, awakening the heart, widening the lungs, and sharpening the senses. It's the same chemical that floods your system when you're startled, excited, or afraid. But during embarrassment, it performs a gentler dance. Instead of preparing you to fight or flee, it prepares your body to feel. Your heart rate increases just enough to send a wave of warm blood toward your skin. Tiny arterioles, the smallest branches of your arteries, respond by expanding, allowing blood to reach the delicate capillaries in your face. That's when your skin begins to glow. The more adrenaline released, the deeper the color may become. But interestingly, this flush is not harmful. It's part of your body's exquisite balance. Adrenaline acts like an emotional translator, turning invisible feelings into visible, living reactions. It's your body's way of saying, "I notice what happened, and I care." Even as your heart beats faster, your breath quickens softly, and warmth spreads outward, your body remains in delicate control. A symphony of reactions guided by ancient biology. This is one of the great beauties of being human. Even our most vulnerable emotions are orchestrated by systems built for protection, communication, and connection. Now let's travel deeper into the quiet rivers within you, the intricate network of blood vessels that carry warmth and life throughout the body. Each vessel has a role, each pathway a rhythm. At rest, your blood flow is steady and even, maintaining calm across all tissues. But when emotion stirs, whether it's joy, fear, or embarrassment, adrenaline changes its balance. It tells certain vessels to constrict and others to expand. In a moment of embarrassment, blood is gently redirected from deeper regions of the body toward the skin of the face, neck, and ears. This is not accidental. These regions are rich in capillaries, microscopic vessels close to the surface, designed to exchange warmth and oxygen. When adrenaline opens these vessels, blood rushes in, filling them with life and color. Your skin, especially around the cheeks and forehead, is incredibly sensitive to temperature and circulation. That's why you feel the heat rise so quickly, and why it fades so gently after a few moments. In essence, adrenaline writes emotion directly onto your skin. Every beat of your heart pushes warmth outward, painting the face with feeling. You could think of it like an artist's brushstroke, delicate, involuntary, yet filled with meaning. It's fascinating to imagine that something as subtle as a fleeting emotion can ripple through blood vessels, nerve endings, and hormones, creating an effect that others can see and sometimes even feel. Adrenaline doesn't just make you blush. It connects the inner and outer worlds, your biology and your psychology, your heart and your expression. Every emotional wave must eventually rest. And so, after adrenaline performs its role, your body gently begins to restore balance. As the feeling of embarrassment fades, your brain releases acetylcholine and other calming neurotransmitters. These chemicals signal your parasympathetic nervous system, the system of rest and recovery, to take over. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens. The blood vessels that expanded so quickly now begin to narrow again, guiding warmth back to the core of your body. Within minutes, the blush subsides, the warmth cools, and you are left with a soft, lingering calm. This cycle, the rise and fall of adrenaline and blood flow, is the body's way of maintaining emotional balance. It allows you to experience the full color of emotion without being overwhelmed by it. And though it feels automatic, it's actually a beautiful form of communication, a quiet language that others intuitively understand. When someone sees your cheeks flush, they often respond with empathy, a smile, a nod, a soft word of reassurance. In that moment, connection deepens. Adrenaline, therefore, is not just a messenger of stress. It's also a messenger of understanding. It allows your body to speak when words might fail. So the next time you feel your pulse quicken and warmth rise within you, you might remember it's not your body betraying you, but your body expressing something purer, a whisper of emotion carried in blood and breath, a signal of life, and an unspoken truth that you are deeply, wonderfully human. Picture the animal world for a moment. A curious chimpanzee hiding after stealing fruit, a dog lowering its head after knocking something over, a cat turning away when caught doing something mischievous. These animals seem embarrassed. But are they? While many species show what we interpret as guilt or submission, only humans experience the full, complex wave of what we call embarrassment. and only humans display it visibly through blushing. No other animal on Earth shows this involuntary flush of color when they feel exposed, awkward, or self-conscious. It is a uniquely human phenomenon, a mirror reflecting our deep awareness of ourselves. To blush requires something profound, self-consciousness. It's the moment when your mind looks at itself and realizes how it appears in the eyes of others. That awareness, the ability to reflect on your own behavior, is a hallmark of human cognition. Animals feel fear, pleasure, curiosity, and affection. But embarrassment? That requires knowing not just what happened, but also how it might be seen by others. This is why blushing is more than a physiological reaction. It's a symbol of human social intelligence. It shows that our emotions are not just internal. They exist in the space between people, in the invisible threads that connect us through empathy, understanding, and shared feeling. When you blush, you reveal your awareness of the social world and your desire to stay connected within it. This delicate ability to feel what others might feel about us is one of humanity's most remarkable traits. Scientists and philosophers alike have long puzzled over this question. If blushing makes us appear vulnerable, why did evolution keep it? Charles Darwin, in his 1872 book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, called blushing the most peculiar and the most human of all expressions. He believed it evolved as a social signal, a silent confession of emotion that helps maintain harmony in human groups. When early humans began living in close communities, our survival depended on cooperation and trust. But mistakes and awkward moments were inevitable. Someone might take too much food or say something that upset another. Blushing, Darwin suggested, became a way to communicate remorse and sincerity, a biological apology. It said, without words, "I recognize my mistake. Please forgive me." Those who could express this honest signal were more likely to be accepted and trusted by others. And so, over generations, the trait became woven into human biology. Other animals may display submissive gestures, a bowed head, averted gaze, flattened ears, but blushing is different. It's not a deliberate gesture. It's involuntary. It's truth made visible. And perhaps that's why it stayed, because it cannot lie. Even in today's modern world, the blush still carries its ancient purpose. When someone sees you blush, they instinctively sense honesty, empathy, and humility. It disarms conflict. It builds trust. So, in an evolutionary sense, the blush may be one of humanity's oldest tools of reconciliation, an emotional bridge between hearts. There's another reason why only humans blush, and it lies within our anatomy. The human face is unlike any other in the animal kingdom. It's capable of thousands of subtle expressions, thanks to more than 40 intricate muscles beneath the skin. We use these muscles to smile, frown, raise our brows, and convey an endless range of feelings. And just beneath them lies a rich network of capillaries and nerves, perfectly positioned for emotional display. Other mammals have fur or thicker skin, which hide such color changes. But humans evolved bare faces, smooth, visible, and expressive, making even the slightest shift in blood flow noticeable. This evolution likely coincided with our growing need for nonverbal communication. Long before complex language, our ancestors relied on faces to convey emotion and intent. A flushed cheek or reddened ear could speak volumes, signaling embarrassment, attraction, or submission without a single word. Over time, this visibility became part of what makes us human: the transparency of emotion, the honesty of reaction. To blush, then, is to participate in a shared human experience. Millions of years in the making, when you feel that warm spread across your skin, you are witnessing a process that no other creature on earth can feel in the same way. It's as if your body is whispering, "I am seen, I am aware, and I am part of this human story." So, the next time your cheeks turn pink, you might smile softly to yourself. And remember, it's a gentle reminder that you belong to the most emotionally expressive species in the history of life. A blush is not just color, it's consciousness. It's humanity glowing softly beneath the skin. Imagine standing in a room full of people. You've said something that draws attention, and for a heartbeat, the world feels very still. You sense your cheeks warming, your pulse quickening, and suddenly, color rushes to your face. That moment, though uncomfortable, is one of pure honesty. The purpose of blushing lies within that honesty. It's a natural, automatic signal that tells others, "I'm aware of how I appear to you." Unlike words, a blush cannot be rehearsed, edited, or hidden. It appears involuntarily, like a small truth written across your skin. Scientists call this kind of expression an honest signal. It means that it's so biologically rooted, so uncontrollable, that others instinctively trust it. When you blush after an awkward mistake, people see sincerity. They sense your humility, your empathy, your awareness of the shared social moment. Studies in social psychology have shown that when people observe someone blushing after an error, they tend to judge that person more kindly. The blush acts almost like a bridge, a soft reassurance that says, "I didn't mean harm. I care about your perception." This is why blushing helps repair social bonds. Instead of making us appear weak, it demonstrates sensitivity and conscience. It's a quiet confession, but also a gesture connection. And so, beneath the surface of this simple reaction, there's a profound function: to maintain harmony within relationships. When our faces reveal emotion, they invite understanding. And that, perhaps, is one of the most beautiful purposes of all. If you think about it, human interaction is full of unspoken cues. A smile, a sigh, a glance, a shift in tone or posture. Blushing belongs to that same wordless language. It's the skin's way of speaking. When the voice hesitates, when your cheeks glow, your body is participating in an ancient dialogue, one that predates speech itself. Before humans developed complex language, our faces were our storytellers. They reveal when we were pleased, ashamed, surprised, or sorry. In this sense, blushing served as an emotional translator between individuals. It told the group, "I recognize what just happened." It invited forgiveness, understanding, and sometimes even affection. In modern times, it still plays a subtle role. In moments of embarrassment, it allows others to sense your authenticity instantly. Even if words fail, the blush fills the silence. And so, blushing is part of the social glue that keeps human relationships strong. It turns moments of discomfort into moments of empathy. We often think of blushing as a flaw, something to be hidden, but it may be one of our most beautiful strengths, because through it, we tell the truth about who we are, open, feeling imperfect, and real. The body does not hide emotion. It reveals it, and in that revelation, we find understanding. Imagine how empty a world would be if faces never changed color, if emotion never glowed softly beneath the skin, we would lose something deeply human. The visible connection between mind and body, between self and other. So, the purpose of blushing is not to embarrass you, it's to connect you. There is, too, a gentle physiological purpose in blushing, one that mirrors emotional release. When adrenaline floods your bloodstream, your heart beats a little faster, your vessels expand, and blood flows closer to the skin. This movement of warmth and oxygen isn't just a reaction, it's a reset. After the rush fades, the parasympathetic system, your calming response, restores peace to your body. The blush becomes part of that cycle, a physical way to discharge tension and signal safety once again. Emotion, like energy, must move. It must flow, and the blush is one of its gentlest movements, a soft exhale of emotion through the skin. In this sense, blushing is not only social, it's self-healing. It helps you acknowledge a feeling, release it, and move forward. There's also something psychologically soothing about the aftermath of a blush. Once the warmth fades, you often feel lighter, as though a hidden weight has been lifted. That's because the act of blushing completes an emotional arc. Tension, exposure, release, and calm. The body has expressed what the heart could not say aloud. It's an act of emotional honesty and renewal. So, when you next feel that gentle heat rise to your face, you might think of it differently, not as something to hide, but as a natural signal that your body and mind are in harmony, communicating, connecting, and cleansing emotion in their own soft rhythm. The purpose of blushing, then, is profoundly simple. It keeps us human. It keeps us kind. It keeps us connected. And in a world that often values control over sincerity, perhaps that involuntary warmth is one of nature's ways of reminding us to stay real, because sometimes the most honest expressions are the ones we cannot control. When we interact with another person, our brains engage in a quiet dance of reflection. Tiny micro-expressions flicker across faces, a raised eyebrow, a soft smile, a fleeting shadow of surprise. Without realizing it, our minds are constantly reading these signals. We feel what others feel, responding with empathy even before words are spoken. Blushing is one of the most striking signals in the silent dialogue. It's a visible confession of emotion, a message written directly on the face. When someone blushes, their skin softly glows, and that change captures attention instantly. Others recognize it not as weakness, but as authenticity. It shows that the person is emotionally aware, sensitive to how they're being perceived, and invested in the social harmony of the moment. That's why people who blush easily are often described as sincere, kind, or trustworthy. The warmth of the blush mirrors the warmth of empathy itself. It's almost as if the body has learned to speak the emotional truth the heart wants to share. The connection between blushing and empathy goes deeper than appearance. Neuroscientists have discovered that when we witness someone expressing emotion, our brains actually mirror that emotion internally. If you see someone smile, your brain's motor regions subtly activate, as if you were smiling too. If you see someone blush, your body might even experience a faint sympathetic warmth in response. This is called empathic resonance, a form of subconscious emotional imitation that strengthens understanding between individuals. It's the foundation of compassion. Through this hidden mirroring, we share in each other's emotional states. It allows communities to form deeper bonds, to sense harmony or discomfort without needing to speak. In the case of blushing, this resonance plays a unique social role. When we see someone blush, our brains register their vulnerability, and we instinctively soften our own behavior. The sight of a blush can actually diffuse tension, reducing anger or judgment. It tells our subconscious mind, this person already feels remorse or awareness. There's no need for conflict. Thus, the blush becomes a quiet peacemaker, an unspoken apology, a bridge back to emotional balance. Empathy flows in both directions. The one who blushes opens up, and the one who sees the blush responds with kindness, a silent dialogue, woven through warmth and compassion. To understand how deeply this instinct runs, we must once again look through the lens of evolution. In early human societies, cooperation and mutual understanding were essential for survival. Conflict threatened the tribe, while empathy strengthened it. So, nature developed systems that encouraged emotional connection. Blushing was one of them, a physical cue that said, I understand my mistake, or I care how my actions affect you. This visible signal reduced the likelihood of punishment or rejection. It made reconciliation possible without the need for complex speech. Over thousands of generations, those who could express emotion honestly were more likely to be accepted, forgiven, and supported. And so, the tendency to blush and to respond empathetically to it became embedded in our very biology. It is, in essence, a biological empathy circuit. Our ancestors didn't consciously choose it. Their nervous systems evolved it as part of a language older than words. Even today, in a modern world of screens and social distance, this ancient reflex remains. You cannot text a blush or fake one convincingly. It still belongs to the body, to real human connection. And perhaps that's why it touches us so deeply when we see it, because in that moment, we are reminded of what it means to feel together. There's another layer to this connection, one that touches psychology more than biology. People who blush often tend to have higher emotional intelligence, which means they're more attuned to their own feelings and those of others. They notice subtleties in tone, gestures, and atmosphere. They feel the energy in a room shift when something awkward is said. And while this sensitivity can make them more prone to embarrassment, it also gives them an extraordinary gift, the ability to empathize deeply. Their nervous system responds to social feedback immediately through the blush, showing both awareness and openness. This level of sensitivity helps build stronger relationships because empathy, at its heart, is not about fixing or controlling others. It's about understanding them. A blush shows that understanding emotion. It's the body's way of saying, I feel with you, and that is emotional intelligence in its purest form. In a world that often encourages emotional control, the blush remains refreshingly honest. It breaks through composure and reveals the heart underneath. When someone blushes during a tender or vulnerable moment, the observer feels a subtle compassion, a quiet softening inside. It's as though the blush reminds both people of their shared humanity. No mask, no performance, just truth glowing on skin. And that truth creates connection. Empathy is born in those seconds of unguarded reality, the very moments that make us feel alive. So, in the end, blushing is not a weakness at all. It's a language of empathy, a reflex of compassion, and a bridge between souls. In the quiet of ancient times, our mistakes were witnessed by only a handful of familiar faces, a tribe, a village, a few watchful eyes around a campfire. Today, the eyes are infinite. With every post, every photo, every message sent into the digital sky, we live beneath a spotlight that rarely dims. Embarrassment, once a fleeting private signal, has become a public broadcast. A small slip of the tongue, a stumble on a stage, a forgotten line in a presentation. These moments can be captured, replayed, and shared across the world in seconds. The brain that evolved for face-to-face connection is now overwhelmed by invisible audiences. Our amygdala, that almond-shaped guardian of emotion, still interprets every social reaction as if we are standing before a crowd that might judge, reject, or embrace us. And so, even in solitude, many people feel watched. That quiet heat on your cheeks, after sending a message you wish you hadn't. That tension in your chest, after reading a harsh comment. These are echoes of the ancient mechanism, trying to protect your belonging. In a world that's far too large for its design, it's not weakness, it's biology, confused by modernity, a survival system, caught in a digital storm. Embarrassment has a peculiar afterlife. Long after the moment has passed, the mind keeps replaying it, like a scene stuck on loop. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. We believe others notice our mistakes far more than they actually do. You trip in a hallway, and for days, your brain replays the fall, as if the world itself had paused to watch. But in truth, most people barely noticed or forgot within seconds. Yet our internal systems treat that moment as a threat to social safety. Adrenaline releases. The memory is tagged as significant. It lingers, reappearing at night when you least expect it. You whisper to yourself, "Oh no, why did I say that?" Or, "I can't believe I did that." But this rumination isn't punishment. It's the brain's attempt to learn. It replays the scene to adjust behavior, to ensure smoother social harmony next time. The problem is, in a fast, hyper-connected world, there's always another scene, another audience, another chance to stumble. The cycle becomes exhausting. Our ancient reflex for brief embarrassment has become stretched, prolonged, and amplified. The brain that once processed a village's judgment now faces millions of potential eyes. And yet, the emotional circuitry remains the same. A single human blush, facing an infinite crowd. Despite this constant exposure, something beautiful is also happening. People are learning to be more compassionate with themselves, to forgive their own stumbles, and see embarrassment as a sign of authenticity rather than failure. In the gentle glow of self-awareness, a new kind of strength emerges, empathic resilience. This is the ability to feel the warmth of embarrassment, acknowledge it, and let it pass without drowning in its echo. Mindfulness practices, deep breathing meditation, and self-talk in soothing tones help the nervous system calm itself. After social tension, the more we practice this, the more our body learns that embarrassment is not danger. It is simply feeling. Neuroscientists call this reassociation, teaching the brain to interpret old signals in new, gentler ways. When you feel your face grow warm, you might softly say to yourself, "It's okay. I'm human. Everyone feels this sometimes." That single sentence rewires the emotional loop. It transforms a moment of discomfort into a moment of connection, first with yourself, then with others. And when you share that honesty, you help others feel safe too. The more we show our real emotions, the less frightening they become. The more we blush openly, the less shame they carry. In the end, the digital world may have magnified embarrassment, but it has also given us a chance to rediscover compassion for ourselves and for everyone else. Trying to navigate this beautiful, awkward, ever-connected life. In many cultures, rituals existed to help people release shame. A cleansing bath, a story told around a fire, a night of shared laughter, the warmth of empathy, the laughter that follows a mistake, the gentle forgiveness that turns tension into relief. These are all signs that humanity has adapted, not by losing its blush, but by understanding it. And perhaps that is the truest progress of all. In every person's life, there are moments we wish we could erase, moments when words escape awkwardly, when laughter comes at the wrong time, or when silence stretches just a little too long. And then the warmth rises, a slow, unmistakable tide beneath the skin. The face grows hot, the cheeks flush pink, and we find ourselves caught between wanting to disappear and wanting to explain. But if we pause and breathe, we might notice something gentle hidden inside that discomfort. That warmth, that blush is not a flaw. It's a reminder that we care. We care about others' feelings. We care about belonging, kindness, harmony. The redness we feel so intensely is a mark of empathy, a visible proof of humanity's delicate design. Think of it this way: a machine cannot blush. A program cannot feel embarrassment. Only a living, breathing soul with empathy and self-awareness can experience that soft burn of emotion. It's one of the most human experiences imaginable. We blush because we are conscious, because we recognize ourselves through the eyes of another. And in that realization, in that reflection, there is beauty. When you blush, you are not broken. You are alive. Imagine yourself standing by a quiet mirror, bathed in warm evening light. You recall a moment from the past, a memory that still stirs a small ripple of embarrassment. You see your reflection. Perhaps your cheeks are still tinged with color. But now, instead of judging, you smile softly. You whisper, "It's okay. You were learning. You were human." And something in your body relaxes. The tension begins to melt. The memory becomes lighter, softer, almost tender. This is self-compassion, the gentle art of accepting our own vulnerability without criticism or shame. When we do this, we engage a special part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic response, which calms the body, slows the heartbeat, and eases the heat of emotion. In this way, compassion doesn't just heal the mind, it literally soothes the body. The blush fades not through denial, but through understanding. You are teaching your nervous system that it's safe to be imperfect, that you can be warm, flawed, emotional, and still be worthy of love, of peace, of rest. Each time you forgive yourself, you quiet the ancient alarm bells that once feared social rejection. You rewire your brain to associate embarrassment not with danger, but with authenticity. It becomes a moment of growth, not of shame. And that is how true emotional resilience is born, not through coldness or control, but through softness. Now let's widen the view. beyond your own experiences, to everyone else who blushes, everyone who's ever felt that heat rise, that heart flutter, that silent wish to hide, across all languages, all ages, all cultures, we share this same reflex, a universal moment of vulnerability. It's comforting, isn't it, to know that the most personal, most intimate reaction is also one of the most universal, whether the shy child at school, a speaker on stage, a lover caught in a moment of tenderness, or a stranger fumbling through a first impression. Each is touched by the same invisible thread of emotion. This shared fragility connects us more deeply than perfection ever could. It reminds us that behind every composed face is someone who has felt the same heat, the same rush of self-awareness. The blush becomes a symbol, not of embarrassment, but of shared humanity, a pulse of empathy, flowing through every person who has ever hoped to belong. Modern neuroscience has a term for what happens when we accept ourselves gently. It's called emotional integration. It means that instead of fighting our emotions, we allow them to exist within us as natural, balanced parts of life. When you stop resisting embarrassment, it becomes lighter. It transforms from heat into warmth, from tension into calm. The same systems that once caused discomfort, the rush of adrenaline, the flush of blood, now simply return to equilibrium. Your body learns that it can rise and fall, blush and recover, feel and rest, without fear. Acceptance is not surrender. It's alignment. It's saying to yourself, I understand why I feel this way, and I choose to be kind to myself through it. And in that moment, the science of emotion meets the art of peace. You, the blushing human, become both the subject and the scientist, observing your own inner landscape with curiosity, with love, and with calm understanding. So now, as the night deepens and your breath slows, let these thoughts settle softly in your mind. Every emotion you've ever felt, every moment of embarrassment, every warm flush of vulnerability is part of what makes you human. It's proof that you care, that you connect, that you are alive. The next time your cheeks glow with warmth, perhaps you'll remember this, that within that redness is empathy, honesty, and beauty. It is not something to hide, but something to honor. So as you rest now, feel gratitude for your beautiful, feeling body, for your mind that learns, for your heart that feels, for your spirit that continues to grow. And as the last ripples of thought fade, allow yourself to drift into stillness, into peace, into the soft rhythm of your own heartbeat. Good night, dear listener, and goodbye,